Swiggity sorty, let's get that booty.
Alright, y'all, what's up? It's Slim Cognito, and I'm ready to let y'all know about what's popping this week. So, first thing first, let's jump into it and get it out the way. The season finale of My Hero Academia. It's got me real hopeful for what's to come, you feel me? And I feel like this anime should be far more respected. Even though it seems like it is like respected, I feel like this anime should be like unanimously respected. I haven't seen it like commit any like shonen sins yet, and it's been generous with its content to filler ratio. It's actually been very generous, you know. So they're starting off with the right foot. Not to mention a crazy amount of just money put into it, you know, that Shonen Jump cash, you feel me? And it works out. So I'm a fan, I gotta be honest with you. And it's good to see that Shigaraki is becoming the successor for the All for One, and that looks like it's, you know, really coming together. And it's nice to see Deku being able to connect with the past powers of the One for All, and they've effectively given us a legitimate Avatar The Last Airbender, but with superheroes, you know. And I'm here for it. Shit looks good. Now, next thing, I can get off of that and get back into catching up on all these Marvel joints, because Shang-Chi has still been lighting things up and I ain't touched it yet, and we just got Venom to touch down, so I do need to put my hands on that too. But now that we got the watch out of the way, let's talk about what we've been playing, because I ain't really been doing no like side gaming or anything, like, you know, just offline gaming like talking about. The streams have been incredible, and they've, like, I don't mind that that's what I'm doing, like main, not really main, yeah, I guess you could say main focus right now. But I'm just mostly just trying to get acclimated to the schedule so I can stay consistent with it, you know what I mean? And the biggest thing is that the chat gets to enjoy themselves so much that I will go for like 11, 12, 13 hours, you know what I mean, on a regular basis. It could just happen. And I really should just like wind that time down, because I should not be wearing myself out like that. But it's a journey, man. It's a good journey, and I enjoy it, you know. Like, there's always games to talk about, and there's always people to connect with over them. Speaking of which, shout out to Lifted Senses, man, over on Twitch. By the way, man, Lifted put me on because I was telling him about Legend of the Valkyrie. I used to play it way back in the day, you know what I mean? On there's this collection of arcade classics from Namco, and it was like 5 different volumes of PS1. Like it was emulated on the PS1, but it was arcade classic games. And I had volume 5 as a child, and as I got older I ended up getting volume 3 or something like that, one of them. But yeah, it was one for every letter in Namco, and you can see it on the box art of each title. So yeah, these were like 5 different separate discs that you could buy from Namco, which was a full collection. And of course, the volume 5 has stuff like what was it? Not Blue Dragon. I think it's like Dragon Soul or something like that, which is just a shump with a dragon instead of a ship or anything. You know, you just shoot fireballs, and it's hella hard. And Pac-Mania, which is not the most, you know, not the best version of Pac-Man, but it lets you jump over ghosts and pellets that you so choose. And what was it? Macrocross, the sideways platformer on a time limit. All these great arcade classics, you know. But the best one that's shown out of all of them when I was just a boy, the best one was Legend of the Valkyrie. Legend of the Valkyrie is kind of like a shump, but it's a top-down, like, adventure shoot 'em up. And for those who don't know, a shump is a shoot 'em up for short. Now, the way this one goes though is that it's not strictly a shoot 'em up, because the one thing that betrays the usual rule of thumb for saying that this fits in that genre is the fact that the game has platforming and RPG elements. So it's hard to say. One could just generalize and say that it's an adventure game, a top-down adventure game, but it's hard to say still, because its natural platform, its default platform, was an arcade. So it's just a mismatch of good things, but it works. You know what I mean? It's like you wouldn't expect that something, you know, just you would never put together, you know, like making a sandwich out of some chicken nuggets, but it worked for some reason, somehow. And yeah, this one works. It's actually super fun, and it's a Japanese only release. The only US release was for the PS1 in that Namco collection. But in me, you know, discussing it with him, he put me on this. I said all that to tell you all that he put me on this game on the Sega Master System, Sega Genesis, Japanese release only, called Twinkle Tail, and it's basically the same thing, and it's hard, but good as hell. Like, when I say it's good, it's so fun. I sat there just to test it out, and it's so good that I got addicted, and I kept going, and I forgot I needed to stop. But man, when I tell you Twinkle Tail is something good and so fun, it's just as fun as Legends of the Valkyrie. And this is huge to me because I haven't played anything that's similar to this ever since. There's no other games like this. This is the reason why you hear me sound like a boomer at times about how games aren't really like evolving or being unique enough, as the indie scene is the only driving force behind creativity. And the reason I'm saying that is because every game that's successful these days fall into like 4, maybe 5 different genres, and there's nothing else to mix the things up. Like everything's almost like point and click adventures are on life support. Like, you don't see many like adventure games like you used to. It's all either boiled down to a first person, third person shooter, or some type of sports game, or some type of it's just, let's be honest with you, the games that have the best budgets is just not going to a creativity. And it's been like that for a decade or more now. But you know, until we make it known, then it will be ruined. Games is the only form of media that just has not been like ridiculously taken over by corporate greed from like to just tarnish it completely, thanks to the indie scene. You know what I mean? And when I say that, it sounds like a broad statement, you know, a broad blanket statement. But what I mean by that is, for example, the fashion industry, independent industries, you know what I mean, independent, let's say fashion designers and whatnot, most of the time they don't have the ability to push their clothing line and their things to be seen as much as, say, others could, if they could afford all these other things that go into usual big name production. For example, like advertisements and etc. You know, mostly they would have to go through social media, and that hurts them in a sense. But it's not as easy as, say, an indie. I won't say it's easy, excuse me, but by comparison, it's not as difficult as, say, someone who makes an indie game. It works out and looks good, and you get it out there and make sure that people play it, and it actually gains a following, you know, and it shines out of the group of things. You know, it's just a higher chance of things. Like, you can't really like convince someone influential. You know, you can always have the opportunity to convince someone that's influential to wear your blouse or your onesies or your do-rags at all times. You know what I mean? But what I really was driving home to, the whole point of me saying that is, if we stop griping about it, then it would get worse easily and quickly. We have to keep griping. If it were not for gamers complaining, then that whole, what was it, Tekken X Street Fighter X, yeah, Street Fighter Cross Tekken, that whole situation with disc lock content, that would have been worse. And it's debatable if one could say that FromSoft does that, but the best answer I can give you is that it's more acceptable and less offensive. But yeah, there were a lot of bad business practices that have died in the video game industry thanks to the fact that people have taken to their keyboards and made sure it was known just how pissed they were about it. So that's the difference, and that's the whole point. Because it would be a shame to hit a certain point and look back and think, wow, the games that I loved back then, all of them feel like the same thing. And the biggest beauty about playing retro games is that you could sit down and play a random game and it would be completely different from the past 12 games that you've tried. Like, so much variance. Even if they're all platformers, they all feel very differently, you know, and have their own je ne sais quoi, I guess you could say. Anywho, I'm not cultured and I ain't gonna pretend that I am. So let's get into the news. First things first, before we do start off, the stream has been great. You want to check it out, go ahead and see us over on twitch.tv/Slim Cognito Entertainment. It's actually a good time. The whole Halloween event has been jumping and I've been incredibly excited about it. I'm still loving it. We actually played through the entirety of the Cat Lady this past week, and boy, it was amazing. It was amazing. Psychological, great writing, and just spooky. Like, a lot of things in that game accomplished in great writing that most games have yet to really touch on in a valid manner. You know what I mean? It was very indie and cheap, you know. I won't say cheap, but you know, they had the most effect with using so little. You know what I mean? They maximized the effect while minimizing what they had in assets and budget. And they really drove it home with a great art style, incredible material for writing, and pretty down-to-earth perspective on social interaction in general and depression and, you know, suicidal tendencies. All of it was handled perfectly. And I cannot be more astounded by it. It's blown me away how great this game is, and it is criminally underrated. And it's been out for almost a decade. It's crazy to me. But anyway, I'll stop singing enough of the praise. If you haven't played the Cat Lady, you need to get a copy on Steam. It's super cheap. Just go ahead and try it out. Get a hold of it. Just try it. Just play it. Just for the inspiration alone, and how it can tell you what it means to pull yourself out of depression, what it means to actually find value in who you are and the life that you had to live, and all these other things. And it helps you get out certain catharsis as well. Things that you bottle up and try to, you know, suppress. It shows you a lot. Alright, that's enough praise. But if you cannot get a hold of it and you can't play it, then go ahead and watch our playthrough over on Twitch. The VOD should still be available for another week and a half. So yeah, hop on that while you can. Another thing. Hold on, let me get a sip of water because my throat is kind of dry. Okay, and after we finished the Cat Lady, you know, the chat wanted to get a VR chat tour, so I gave them that. You know, what we like to do is we walk around in a VR chat server where they have a recreation of Kmart, one of the closed down supermarket chains in the US, and it was a great nostalgic time, and Kmart was dope. And we went through there. You know, we blast some vaporwave music in the background, and me and the chat we go on a nostalgia trip down memory lane. You know what I'm saying? Some good, bad memories and all around wholesome conversation about all of it. And it's actually therapeutic. It's healing to the mental. You know, it helps a lot. As much as it helps me, I can tell that it helps others as well, because we all have a great time, and it's actually surprising how great it is. So I'm just glad that I could share the things that I do. Usually if it's 3 a.m. and I'm feeling stressed or what have you, I would just roam around in Kmart and VR chat and have a good relaxing time. And it works well for me. It's my therapy. and I'm glad to share that therapy with those who also need it. Now, after we finished the Cat Lady, we jumped into the intention was to play IB. What was that? Saturday night. The intention was to play IB, the RPG indie maker game. RPG maker indie game, excuse me. Those words got all mixed up. Anyway, yeah, it's a great horror game with, light puzzles, very good, adventure type stuff going on. And I really did dig it. Very good stuff considering, who and what made it and for how much. Just off the ballpark the last thing. But yeah. But it was made in 2003 with RPG Maker 2003. And trying to get it run on Windows 10 properly was several hoops to jump through. So I decided impromptu game switch off of the backup list for October. And we went with some The Witch's House, which is another great indie horror game. It was also made in RPG Maker way back when, but it got re-released and remade, I suppose, in a better engine, or it was just all compiled to run better and then optimized to, play on Windows 10, etc. So yeah, it was an amazing time actually. If you could see my clips, you would be amazed at how many amazing fucking moments. You could, as a matter of fact, I uploaded one to my YouTube and my TikTok, so you can go and check those out. But yeah, the chat had a great time because they decided that it would be a good idea to try to jump scare me with my own damn sound alerts on stream. So I'm trying my best to get through this game, and I'm steady getting my ass spooked to death, and it's actually hilarious watching the footage. So I highly recommend that y'all go ahead and check it out, because it just might be something that you'll enjoy. All that being said, once we finished The Witch's House, we moved on over, because it wasn't that long of a game, but we did move on over to Corpse Party. I think Witch's House is about maybe, could probably beat it in 4 hours, maybe 5. I'd say 4 hours. It's not that long. It's a nice, decent, short but sweet, very good horror game. It mastered, making you feel tense and uneasy and increasing your stress level. Super good. But yeah, we moved over to Corpse Party, and now we're working on that, and we'll be picking back up on Corpse Party. We're in the middle of chapter 2 thus far, and one character has already died, so good job, and can't wait to show y'all more. Now, with all that being done and said, let us get into the news. I don't know why I said this shit like that, to be honest with you, bro. I ain't even... whatever. Alright. AppleInsider.com. Apple earns more from gaming than Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft, Activision combined. As in a whole. As in all of them. Because, bruh, the numbers right here have been revealed thanks to the Epic versus Apple lawsuit that's been going on. A lot of their things have been disclosed to the public in order to better inform those who have to make the decision on the ruling of the court, and it's hilarious. Actually hilarious. So they said that according to Wall Street Journal, the operating profit for Apple from gaming alone in 2019 was at $8.5 billion. They said that their gaming base figure is approximately $2 billion more than the operating profit generated from games during the same 12-month period by Sony, Activision, and Nintendo and Microsoft. The gaming company's data stemmed from company filings, while Microsoft's figure was from an analyst estimate. Apple told the publication on Friday, which also means that, maybe they're not reporting to the public, and if so, then they may be incorrectly reporting. But, that's just supposition. Let's move on. They said that data from Sensor Tower that estimated Apple received $15.9 billion in revenue from the App Store for the year, and that 69% of that figure derived from gaming, bruh. That is a ridiculous amount of majority to really that tells you right there that every other facet that they run is not as important as them pushing gaming. Gaming has become keeping it alive and making sure it's not getting tainted has let it grow to unreal and almost grotesque levels, the gaming industry. But boy, this right here is insane. But it's not completely surprising considering that with the high monetary value of the entry level for all Apple products, pretty much guarantees that the majority of their user base has disposable income. What I mean by that is, if you bought a Mac or Apple anything or i whatever, it means that you can afford everything else that goes within the realm of that costs less. Most likely, if you bought that big of a price on the phone, the microtransactions will you'll be more susceptible to spend on those, and you're more capable. It's what you can do and you're able to do, and you will do it. I don't know how much better I can explain that, but the demographic is confirmed by the entry point. You know, the bar, I'm every word I keep editing out. I don't want to say it's gatekept by the price or that it's the bar is set at a certain way. All this other shit. You get what I'm saying. I ain't got to break it down no more. Goddamn. If I got to explain it down even simpler than that, then go ask your mama. So anyway, yeah, it's really ridiculous, bro. Using data from the court, it was implied the App Store had an operating profit of $12.3 billion for the year, accounting for almost a fifth of the overall operating profit, bro. So yeah, that's what it is. And it may, I hate to say it, I don't want to see it get any bigger than that, but it may, because of the fact that gaming on phones is becoming increasingly popular, using a controller, and they're trying to do the cloud gaming thing where you don't need the hardware to run these games. So I guess give it time and hope for the best. Fingers crossed. Metroid Prime producer reveals axed open world game plans. So long story short, to sum up this here over on videogameschronicle.com, Metroid Prime developers Retro Studio, they wanted to make a lot of things that they had to take out because repeatedly Metroid Prime was held back by hardware limitations of the GameCube and then the Wii. And it was said several times, even a few weeks back when we mentioned the podcast where one of the guests on this podcast was one of the head developers of Retro Studios at the time of Metroid's production. And he mentioned that he wanted to give us some sequences where Samus was actually using her ship more often. So, for example, one of the examples he gave was fighting Ridley in space while Samus is perched on top of her ship, doing her best to blast him while having a high-speed fight in space. And that would have been so sick if you just think about it. But it just was not possible because of the GameCube's limitations and the Wii eventually. And they were waiting for the release of the controller for the Nintendo Wii. And once the Wiimote was revealed, they had even more things to worry about, and it set on more stress for them to actually complete and make what they set out and envisioned for the game. And honestly, these things make a lot of sense to me because Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, if you played those games in order, you will be sick of the formula after the second game, because Echoes actually built on what Metroid Prime was already and added more to it and kept what was great. But the thing about Corruption is it's just more of the same but worse. Everything in the story was explained away with phasons. Phazon this, phazon that, phazon creatures, phazon poisoning, phazon beams, phazon control. It's always the same shit throughout the entire thing. Even phazon became an enemy that you had to fight. Phazon Metroids, phazon space pirates. Like, it became way too much, and then the gameplay was stunted because it had to implement the motion control gimmicks that were just way too much. Like, you're trying to twist and pull and all these other things and throw out tethered grappling hooks on enemies, which is a great idea on paper and a super good mechanic, and I like it. But the fact that I had to use the nunchuck to make it work, it's not what we want to do. It causes more of a delay of immersion when you're actually playing the game, in my honest and humble opinion. Because if people have other perspectives on it, I would love to hear them, because mine is clouded by the premise that was Metroid Prime 1 and 2, and now I have no choice but to compare them to that, because it was all released in succession and done by the same team. Therefore, it's strange to see. But anyway, next thing is this. Actually, we're gonna go on and go to the next article. Y'all should just go and check that out, though. They have all the details you need to hear and the original source material and podcast episode, I believe, right there in the article. But if you love you some Metroid and Metroid Prime, as I do, then this might interest you, because it all made sense. It felt like they just had to put what they had where they could in order to patch up the holes in the game and make it hit release. You know, so yeah. Next thing, over on siliconera.com, Final Fantasy 16 will have an expansive skill tree system. This is mostly just saying a lot to say a little, where I'll just give you the main quote. There's usually two ways to play a character. You can either put yourself in the shoes of a predefined protagonist, or like in Final Fantasy 14, you can become your own protagonist. But even in the case where you play a predefined hero, it's better to have some sense of customization in the character's progression, as it gives wider options of play. Alright, so yeah, they were saying all that to say they have plans to give you the options for unique gameplay from person to person, and a huge skill trees, I assume. And I can't wait to see what they come up with. If I could see them come up with something similar to the leveling system in Final Fantasy X, but you know, new and add more to it, you know, or something a little more, you know, interesting, or a good twist to it, that would blow my mind actually. Over here on a very obscure website called happywarrior.substack.com, the Happy Warrior, Capcom allows Facebook to deface and modify Resident Evil 4 for Oculus VR remake. Removal of content and significant revisions have been made to Resident Evil 4's story and dialogue to please the gaming media and the social justice crowd. So, long story short, but I am trying hard not to rant about this, but basically what they're going to do is remove everything that's even remotely adhered to sexual harassment, or, you know, sexist conversations, or, you know, expressions that would seem ignorant and or bigoted. And I feel like it's way too far. This is too much. This is way too much, and this is a problem. It's you're ruining a game that was already established and there were no problems. All right, these are games we're talking about, 18 plus games. You don't have to worry about these things. Stop this right now. Now, most likely they're aiming to market this game to a more family-friendly crowd of people or demographic. I'm trying to make some sense of this and twist it into a positive way. But most likely they're trying to target people who've never played Resident Evil. And if they're afraid of it, and this is their first one, they play it on VR, then maybe it would impress them in a sense. You know what I mean? I guess that's what they're going for, because I'm pretty sure they most likely believe that their main Resident Evil crowd would either just go ahead and buy the game anyway to play it on VR, just to experience it for the 15,000th time, or if they haven't played it before, then this would be an easy one for them to get into without most sensibilities, how do you say, disregarded? Anyway, I don't like it though. Fuck this shit. I don't like it though, because they're removing certain lines that aren't even offensive, to be honest with you. For example, there is a conversation with Hunnigan toward the beginning of the game with Leon, where he's just like, Leon, I hope you can hear me. I'm Ingrid Hunnigan. I'll be your support on this mission. And Leon, loud and clear, somehow I thought you'd be a little older. So the subject's name is Ashley Graham Wright. Ingrid Hunnigan says that's right. And boom. So they took out the sentence where Leon said, somehow I thought you'd be a little older, as if it would be offensive. Then later on, all of the flirtatious dialogue between Leon and Hunnigan throughout the entire game removed. The final scene where he actually asks for Hunnigan's number, removed. Okay. Every scene that Luis mentions the president's daughter was equipped with some ballistics, removed. It's just ridiculous. It's downright disgusting. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. It makes my skin crawl. Y'all literally taking the fucking humor out of the game. This is supposed to be like a Tarantino-esque Japanese take on American cinema with tongue-in-cheek irony as the overtone. And you're literally letting all of this subtext be removed that adds to the personality of the character, honestly. This is when Leon was young and full of piss and vinegar and fire. And he was out there being the best super secret agent. And he believed himself to be an anime character almost. And it was dope. And he thought he was so cool and so smooth. But he's terrible with the ladies. And the only lady that he could bag was the president's daughter, and he didn't want it because it's illegal. That's the joke of his character, but it's told in subtlety. It's not directly told you, oh man, I can't get girls or some other shit, you know what I'm saying? It's not blatant, it's subtle. These things harsh the entire fucking game, alright? It betrays the tone completely. Alright, I'm not finna rant no more. Let me shut up. But Resident Evil 4 is near and dear to my heart, and is arguably one of the top 3, if not one of the best Resident Evil games of all time. It is my number 2 favorite out of the series, and I feel hurt by this, and rightfully so. So fuck this shit. Anyway, next over on Eurogamer.net, GTA reverse engineering fan projects pulled offline for a second time after yet another Take-Two takedown. Long story short, we talked about this before a few weeks ago. There is a group of people who are reverse engineering the code of Grand Theft Auto 3 and Vice City and 3. Yeah, 3 and Vice City. Excuse me. Yeah, I was right the first time. So yeah, and they wanted to remake it in HD and give it all new textures and everything else. They've received a cease and desist for the second time, I suppose, and now they really have to lay low, I suppose, because they keep receiving them. Obviously, goddamn. But the point that I'm trying to get at is I'm not worried about what's here on the article. Okay, I'm worried about what's not being said here. A master of subtext. I believe that the reason Take-Two is so aggressive with this fan remake project is because they're planning on giving us remakes of GTA 3 and Vice City already. You want to know why I think this? And all of this is plausible because they already had the big lawsuit and the disagreement with GTA 5 and all of these other things, and now there's a whole team of people who left Rockstar to go off and make a competing open world wide vast adventure game similar to the GTA series. So I feel like a lot of their ideas, creatives and talented people have left the building in terms of the higher ups, and now all they have left is their remakes. So they're just gonna go back and retread old ground and just start pumping out remakes, most likely. And hopefully they aren't half-assed. But anyway, yeah. So it might be the best of both worlds. We might get something new and different from the new team, and we might also get our classics in some new shiny coat of paint. All in all, we all get some fucking GTA. Next thing on the docket, GameIndustry.biz. Alright, Capcom intends to make PC its main platform. According to Takashi Mochizuki, the Capcom president and COO, Haruhiro Sugimoto, told the outlet at the Tokyo Game Show that it wants the PC to eventually become its primary platform. So yeah, most likely this is due to the success that most of Capcom's fans are older PC gamers now, or I'd say a good chunk of them, because Capcom has been bad for a good long fucking time. Okay, let's just be honest with you. And all of their greater games that had captivated a lot of the youth to becoming Capcom fans was during those eras of, you know, let's say 80s and 90s, where they were the king of making licensed platformers and etc. So now here we are, and they found out that they get really good, you know, returns on releasing their games on PC. I think they found out that it's a legitimate platform now, and it has good longevity. So here we are, getting some Capcom and some Sony first-party AAA titles on PC. Can you believe it? I don't know, but it's happening. So let's be happy about it. That's all I can say. But anyway, yeah. So that's said and done. Konami has reportedly greenlit a Metal Gear Solid 3 remake over on Eurogamer. Long story short, it ain't much here. Just gonna say that I guess they're hiring Virtuous Studios to handle the development. Hopefully they do a great job. I really hope that they're huge fans. But honestly, I feel like just to start with 3, like, why don't you practice and, you know, try to remake 1 first, and then 2, and then 3, you know, and maybe that's all right. But hey, let's see what happens, I guess. Fuck. Next thing on the docket, Destructoid.com. The Game Awards 2021 are set for December. According to the tweet from the Game Awards Twitter account, it says December 9th, Thursday, Game Awards will start live in person from Microsoft Theater, LA, and streaming live everywhere. A global celebration of video game culture. So yeah, let's turn up and can't wait for that. You know what I mean? Can't be too much supposition. We don't know what's gonna be there until we see it, or that shit gets leaked. But you know, it's always fake leaks. So can you really tell or lean on it if it does come up? Anywho, next. Hold on, let me drink some water. Goddamn. Alright. GamesIndustry.biz. Sony acquires Bluepoint Games. Bluepoint Games, y'all, just to go ahead and tell you straight up, Bluepoint Games are the people who gave us the remake of Uncharted Nathan Drake Collection. They did the remake of Shadow of the Colossus. They did Demon Souls PS5 remake. And they're just fucking good at this. I played. What the fuck was that came out of me? My throat. I played Demon Souls, but not the remake. And I always wanted to. Been watching a lot of footage of it, and seeing as how the huge leap of graphical detail and animations and the care they took in making it remake surprises me a lot. As much as what I have experienced from Bluepoint, I've experienced their Shadow of the Colossus remake, which was astounding, I might add. A constant, solid frame rate, good updated features, without the need of worrying about, you know, compared to the ports of the game. It's just better all around, and it's probably the best version of the game. So yeah, I know it's gonna be great. I know it's gonna lead to some great things, and I'm gonna tell y'all right now. This is what I'm hoping for, and I feel like this might be what they're gonna work on. So guess what? I'm drawing the line in the sand right now, and I'm calling it. I'm pointing to the stands. This is the window, the first step, the road to our Legend of the Dragoon remake. You understand me? That's what's coming. I feel like that's what's coming, bro. That's what I feel. I feel like that's what we're gonna get. So anyway, not to get y'all too hyped up for it, but wouldn't it be sick? It's a first-party Sony title that Sony owns No one's touched it since, and it still has a long-standing fan base. Oh man. I think that's what alright, whatever. If you disagree, I want to hear your argument. Please tell me in the comments what you think they about to work on. Because I can't see anything else other than them proving themselves worthy of doing something that they could actually put some money into them for and risk one of their important classic IPs. And yeah, I want to hear what y'all got to say. But anywho, that's everything that's on the docket this week. I can't wait to see y'all if you do come to the turnout. I want to thank everybody who do listen to the podcast, all of you who do support the podcast out there, whether it's on Spotify, Apple, Google. And for those of you that watch it on the YouTube, don't forget about the TikTok and the YouTube as well, by the way, because they are actually, we're starting to do some numbers with our shorts and our TikToks. So I'm really happy about that. Everything seems to be coming together. And don't forget that this October, all October, I got a bunch of obscure horror games. And thanks to was having a terrible day. One of these days, shout out to those of you who showed up on the stream, and they just showed up and showed out, bro. They decided to just gift subs were going left and right, and I know it's something that happens every day for everybody else, and other streamers may be better off and well off, you know what I mean, and they don't really have no, you know, big surprise about it. You know, maybe they're jaded by it or numb to it. I don't care. Okay, this is the first time it happened on my channel, and I was ecstatic because it was a terrible day for me, and it picked me up October 1st when we started after midnight, and we started going on what was that? We were on Indigo Prophecy and having a great time, and we finished up the game. And once we got toward the end, people just started getting generous. And you know, the Halloween layout, I showed everybody my OBS Halloween layout that I worked hard on. It's a lot of things that's changed on the stream. If you haven't been there in a while, you might want to check it out. We got like sound alerts, a whole like animated layout, background, and everything. Like it's super good, and I'm super proud of it. And the people love it too. I'm so thankful for all the supporters, and it's been a great time. So thank you to you all of you who have been doing just supporting me in any way you know how thus far. I appreciate you more than you think. Every morning and every night before I go to bed in my prayers, I'm thankful. Now, all that being said, y'all have a good day. Don't forget to take care of yourselves out there, and always remember the channel motto: intentions are the most important, actions ain't nothing but loud, and words don't mean a damn thing. Y'all take care of yourselves. This podcast late as hell, but peace. And I don't like the way that feels. Ooh, fuck! Oh my god, bro. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Was this here before? Extra flowers and you'll die too. Okay.
Damn, nigga, what you doing out here with all this ass? Double cheeked up on a Thursday afternoon, hella ass. The sun is still out, my nigga.
I'm gonna turn this shit off until I beat this game or something, bro. Like, god damn.